At the center of every home was the hearth. It was the fire for cooking, the light in the darkness, and the only source of heat for the family. Firewood was precious, so it had to be managed carefully. Families tried to keep embers glowing through the night, so they would not waste effort trying to start the fire again in the morning. In many homes, animals shared the same building with the family. A cow or a goat might stand in a corner of the single-room house, and their warmth added just enough heat to soften the chill. At night, families slept close together, sometimes in the same bed, wrapped in heavy wool blankets or even wearing their cloaks and hats. In that closeness, they found comfort, as much from each other's presence as from the fire. Food in winter was another concern. There were no markets with endless supplies, no refrigerators, only what had been stored after the harvest. Sacks of grain, wheat, rye, and barley were kept dry for bread. Bread was the food of survival, eaten every day. Beans, peas, and lentils were valued for their protein. Meat was a rarity, saved for feasts or when an animal grew too old. Most meals were simple, a thick soup made from cabbage, onions, and turnips, sometimes with grains added in. Though plain, that hot soup carried warmth into cold bodies and gave strength to keep working through the season. Nights in the Middle Ages were darker than we can easily imagine. Without lamps or electricity, the world seemed to vanish when the sun went down. Families relied on the hearth fire, its faint glow casting shadows on the walls or on a single tallow candle. Bedtime came quickly after sunset. Yet their sleep was not like ours. They often followed a rhythm of first sleep and second sleep. After a few hours of rest, they would wake in the quiet of the night, spend time in prayer, whisper stories, or even walk to a neighbor's house. Then they would return to bed until morning. The bed itself was a wooden frame filled with straw, covered with rough woolen blankets and shared by everyone in the family. This closeness, though crowded, was a shield against the bitter cold. Life in winter was not only work and sleep. Families found small ways to bring light to the long nights. Children played with stones, sticks, or pieces of string. Adults told folk tales passed from one generation to the next. Around the fire, songs were sung quietly, laughter was shared, and sometimes silence was kept as each person thought about the coming spring. These moments of togetherness gave warmth in a season when the world outside seemed lifeless and frozen. Winter also brought fear. Food stores might run too low, sickness could spread, and the freezing nights were dangerous for both the elderly and the very young. Yet villagers were not entirely alone. The whole community faced the same hardships, and so they helped one another. If one family lacked bread, a neighbor would share. If snow collapsed a roof, the villagers would gather to repair it. Cooperation and kindness became as important as food or fire. This sense of unity was perhaps the greatest strength of the peasant class.